Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And it's the weekend, well almost, we're on Friday. So I thought I'd pop by and we'd create a project together and spend a little bit of time together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 4 inches by 6 inch piece of card. And what we'll do is Tracy's got some green ink just on a non-stick craft sheet there. So we'll just wipe that up before we get started. And it's, for once, it's lovely and bright outside. So I've got a nice bright window just in front of me. So I've got a 4 inch by 6 inch piece of Pink Frog Smooth Card 300 GSM. And then I've got a little black mat that is a 1/4 inch bigger. And then I've got a 5 by 7 inch card blank, all Pink Frog. So I'm going to start with this card and I've got no plan. Well, what a surprise. So I'm just going to grab products just here and there, and let's grab my Abutalon stamp. So we'll use the Abutalon stamp. And the Abutalon is TE7. I keep saying I'm going to leave the plastic inside the packaging because then I'm not hunting for it. Or you could put a little bit of low-tack tape or washi tape on there that somebody reminded me about onto your acetate, and then you wouldn't lose that. So I'm going to take my Abutalon, and then I'm going to take my Versafine Clair Morning Mist, a colour that I really love, and that's why I've bought it in stock in my shop, mainly because it's one of those colours that I use over and over again. So I'm going to ink with my grey, and I'm thinking on the cuff here. So I'm using products that were easily to grab hold of and easily accessible. So with my grey Morning Mist ink pad, I'm giving a good tapping to that stamp. And so that I've got room over here, let's place, do I want this over here? Or do I want it over here? Tracy doesn't know. Let's place it sort of there, like so. So what I'm doing is I'm playing with the idea, you know, that we did before with the stencils, with my snippet stencils. I love the snippet stencils. They're just wonderful. So I'm just applying the ink. I'm allowing that ink to grab hold of the card, just giving that some time just to grab hold of that card. And this is with the grey ink, so not quite as powerful as the black, but with the grey ink. And that's because I'm going to use greys anyway. So what I'm going to do, I think this time we'll grab the hair snippet stencil. So grab the hair snippet stencil, and I think I've got templates with bits cut out, and so I should be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, do I want to add one there and then one in the front? This is, I'm going to talk to myself, I'm just warning you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place one here, just slightly up above. And what I'm going to do is take my Distress Oxide Hickory Smoke. And what I want you to do this time is relax your hands and don't press on. So I want you to get a good layer of ink. I'm using my little mini blending tools that I've got, mainly because I just want to stay within this area and just to get the fine details. So what I'm going to do is just take my kitchen roll. Why don't you get some copy of paper, Tracy? Bear with me. I've got some little pieces of copy of paper here. Actually, these are from cutting the postage labels. So I'm going to place that there so I don't get any ink there. And what I'm going to do is take my Distress Oxide ink, and what I want you to do is just press very lightly. Don't press on. I just want you to go very lightly. you're just kissing the surface, or you can just move the stencil because I'm not actually holding it in place. Well done, Tracy. So let's take that back again. There we go. Hold the stencil in place or use your masking tape to keep it in place. And what I'm doing is I'm just adding a light layer of that colour. So I'm not going back into the ink pad. I'm just adding a light layer of that colour. And where this fine area is, just brush away. Just brush the colour away where you've got your fine areas. And I want you to just apply that very, very lightly. There we go. So what we've got is sort of a shadow effect. And what I'm going to do then is place the hair back over the stencil. Let's say there-ish. And again, just cover that piece of card up just so that if I'm a bit heavy-handed. And then this time, I'm going to add more ink to my blending tool. But this time, I'm going to add a lot more colour. So I'm going to add a lot more colour. So I'm going to make it a little bit darker. So to make that darker, I'm going over there several times. So let's just brush that away with the ink and then just apply several layers of that same colour. What I'm going to do then, I'm going to add a little bit of a different colour. So I'm going to take a little bit of Twisted Citron. So let's take a little bit of Twisted Citron. Twisted Citron Distress Oxide. And I'm just going to add a little bit of, and what I want you to practice is less is more. So I want you to practice just touching very lightly with your inks, because we can always add more. Put the right lid on the ink pad, Tracy. We can always add more of that ink. So let's just place another colour. Just place that on there. And what I'm going to do this time is take some salvaged patina. So let's take some of that salvaged patina. And then we'll just add a little bit of the salvaged patina. Again, don't take away too much of that grey. You just want sort of touches of that salvage patina. And I can lift my stencil up and just see if it's doing exactly what I want it to, and it is. So let's just move that hickory smoke out of the way, and then let's take our salvage patina. And what we're doing is we're layering. We've got a little bit of debris here. I always seem to have a little bit of debris for some reason. No idea why. So let me show you what we've got at the moment. Shall I add a little bit more there at the bottom? And then shall we add, oh, shall we? I'm just going to be faffing now. It's just my favourite hobby is to faff. So then I'm going to take a little bit of the Twisted Citron again and just add a little bit more, just a little bit more vibrancy of that Twisted Citron. There we go. Now, we don't know what we've got until we lift that stencil, so let's lift it because we can easily line it up again, back up again. So lovely. Just so you can see that we've then got the hair sort of a shadow, and we've got our Butylon that we'll add a little bit of colour to, and we've just got, it's not too overpowering at all. So what I can do, let's go back to the little shadow one. The hardest bit is actually lining your stencil back up in exactly the same place as you had it before. Where are you, Tracy? Is it there? In a bit? Up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, across a bit. Where are you? That's it. It's because I can't see that little bit. Crikey, I must have held it at a funny angle. There we go. That's it. And after all that, I haven't got the grey one on. Let's take the grey. Just use that copy of paper so you're not putting your hands on there. Not putting your hands on there. Let's place that on properly. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more, just a little bit more depth. Just to this. Okay, that's better, much better. So let's make sure those hands are clean, because you've seen that I've been using that little blending tool and picking it up. So what we've got is we've now sort of got the shadow effect of the hair with a touch of that colour in there. Just works rather nicely, doesn't it? It just works beautifully. So what I'm going to do then, while I have a think about my next step, I'm just going to add a little bit of colour to my Abutalon. So let's just take a little bit of colour to the Abutalon. So just adding a little bit. And normally I go dark to light, and I just seem to have added the light first. Tell you the colour would help. This is Chartreuse 989, and they are Prismacolor. And then we've got Spring Green PC 913. I'm just going to add, I normally start with the darkest colour first, to be honest. And you can see that I'm not sort of overpowering the colour, just adding a little bit of colour to the sort of top of the Abutalon. And then we'll just add a little bit of a darker colour, which is Parrot Green, PC 1006. And Parrot Green is, oh yes, sort of a bit of turquoise in there. So just add a little bit of that colour. So I'm just adding that sort of to the tips. Just that darkest colour. Then I'm going to go back to the Spring Green and just blend that darker colour. Just blend that a little bit, just that darker colour a little bit more. And it's nice to show you how you can colour things in different ways. So then I'm going to take the Chartreuse. Let me just blend that out. Oh, I think this pencil was, to be honest, I think this pencil was broken before I even started the video. I just didn't check. So I'm going to go in with a little bit more of the darker green, which is the Parrot Green. And it's so much easier if you've got really sharp pencils. I've just got carried away and not sharpened my pencils, but it's far easier to get into the detail with your sharper pencils. So let's go with that second colour and just blend that out. Just blend your colour out. And you can see on this one, I've left a little bit of white here to give it sort of like, it appears like it's got a shine. just lovely. Right, now I've got the hairs on the scrap paper. You can tell I've used it before. I've already had these. I haven't planned it. This is something I've already got in my collection. I've always got like masks and things in my collections, and I don't bin them because I keep them and use them several times. But now I've got some masking sheets from my lovely friend Lynn, so I will create some more masks now that are more permanent. Right. Get your ruler and your pencil in there. Right. Of course, it's facing the wrong way. Of course it is. So let's grab our hair. There we go. And I'm just going to take my time. This is cut out of copy paper. So you've got to be aware it is flimsy. It's copy paper, but you know me, I use what's around me. Let's just pull that down a bit because I think my cutting out just leaves a little bit to be desired. So it's just this bottom area that I want to just mask off. That will be fine. So what I want to do then is I want to grab my little tulip type flower from the branched heart. Now, do I want it in there? Do I just want it around it? This is what I'm like all the time. I think I'm going to have it around it. Can you tell? Because I'm thinking off the cuff, I want a little bit of time just to think what I'm doing. Right. It's mainly because, I'll tell you why I'm thinking about it, because I really like the colours on the hairs. Just think they just look beautiful. But what I'm thinking is, using the tulip just with the stem, but I want them in the greens. So I've got Versafine Clair Verdant. These are colours, again, I've put them in my shop mainly because these are the colours that I use over and over and over again. So I'm going to take the Verdant, and what I'm going to do is I'm just inking sort of the stem of the floral. So I'm going to add, do I want to add it in? The cogs are working over. Let's grab some more copy paper. Right. The cogs are working over. So I'm going to use this copy paper, and I'm just going to grab the hair, or have I got one in my masking sheets anyway? Let's see if we've got one in here. Oh, I have. Look. There we go. So I've got a little mask in there. Oh, I surprise myself sometimes. So I've got this mask here. That actually looks quite nice, doesn't it? To use in a project. That looks nice in itself. Oh, how lovely is that? Stop staring at that, Tracy. Just get on with it. Just because it looks nice. There we go. I am terrible. Right. So then I'm going to, which is probably dried by now at the amount of faffing I do, I'm going to add a little bit of the green there. Let's add a little bit more. So just using the Verdant just to add a little bit of the sort of tulip-esque type flower, sort of around the hairs. I'm just adding some of this stamping, and I can add the second generation and the third generation just to my stamping. I haven't touched this one yet, so I'm just doing it with the Verdant at the moment. So let's just adding this to the Verdant, nothing else. I will add some of the darker colour as well. Let's just add this one over here. I know that's why I like to take my time. I don't like to rush what I'm doing. So we're going to take a little bit of the tulip over here, first generation, second generation. And again, let's take that first generation, place that back over, and let's add the second generation, third generation. Just gives it a little bit more definition. Let's place this back over here again. Over there, that's it. And then this time, let's use Shady Lane. So we'll use our Shady Lane. Little bit of the Shady Lane, little bit darker. And let's add a little bit of the Shady Lane here. And you will, especially if you're using a paper mask like me, you will lift the mask up a little bit. So just adding the second generation, and keep removing your project just so that you can see what you're ending up with. Let's just give that a wipe. Let me just, so I'm playing around, just sort of adding foliage, florals or whatever, just around my hair. Just adding some of the florals just around the hair. So let's take, and if we decide we want to add more colour or more depth to the hair, we can do that afterwards once we decide what we're doing. Oh, this one, Tracy, this one. Let's make sure that's, I spend more time faffing with the hairs than I do anything else. So first generation, second generation, third, fourth, fifth, however many you want to add. Oh, let's take that again. So we'll just add some more over here and just extend that design a little bit. Just keeping those same tones. And then we'll go back to the Verdant, the paler colour. And if you change the direction of what you're working on, it's just more appealing. Let's just add this here. I can't pick that up. So let me just see in camera. We can still see that, but what we'll do is, where's the, don't put anything down, Tracy, because then you can't find it again. Let's go back to our little hair. And it's better to add less and keep adding and then ruin the effect that you're trying to get. So I'm then going to just grab my blending tool again and just a little bit harder, just define that edge a little bit more. Just this edge, just a little bit more. There we go. Just defined that a little bit more. but you can still see that there. So it works rather nicely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place the mask over here. And then I'm going to take my little stencil here, Swirly Contrary. So just pick that stencil up, whatever stencil you want to use. And then I want another mask. I want the Abutilon. So let's grab the Abutilon. So I'm going to place the Abutilon mask there. I think that might be the only one I need actually. So let's place the Abutilon mask. And let's grab something with a little bit more colour. Let's grab some of the pinky colour. So I'm going to grab a little bit of sort of the pink just on my brush so that it's ready. So this is picked raspberry. And then I'm just going to take this one off and take this paler one. So we're going to take the Twisted Citron. Let's take a little bit of the Twisted Citron. And then I'm just going to place my stencil over here. I'm not going to go where the hairs are. I'm just going to add a little bit of the foliage. Just hold your stencil in place like so, and you can just lift that. Oh yes, just enough, not too much. And what I'm going to do is just add a little tinge of the pink, just a little tinge of that picked raspberry. And if you notice, I'm sort of adding the colour very lightly. Let's lift that up. So just giving that a little bit of colour. Right. All I'm struggling with now is finding actual ink pad lids. Don't lose my masks because I don't want to lose them. I want to keep my masks. Let's just add this here. And now, oh, do you know, I was thinking, why can't I see the hair? It's because I've got my little mask on there. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to take my little blending tool. I'm just going to add a little bit of the Twisted Citron. Just like so, just a little bit of that Twisted Citron. There we go. Just so that they're grounded a little bit more. So I want to grab my Posca pens. So let's grab my Posca pens. And what we're going to do is take some different colours. So let me decide. So I definitely want some little pink, just so that I can add some little dots of pink. Just here and there, just around. Just so that the hairs look a little bit more grounded. You want them a little bit more grounded. I love creating projects where you just take your time. I just think it's lovely. Okay, so what we'll do then is we will add So we want a little, what other colours have we got? Oh, that's a silver one. Now I'm frantically looking at my pens. There we go. There's a little bit. I don't think that one's... Oh yeah, that one's working really well, Tracy. Look at it, it's not even moving. Let's see if there's any in. So just a bluey colour. Let's give it another shake. And you two can wait forever for Tracy to find her pens. That one's okay. So then I'm just going to add a little bit. I'm not suddenly using a colour that's going to detract too much from what we've already got. I've not detracted too much from that. So just taking my time. So let's have this colour. Now, are you working? Oh, yes, we are. So sort of a turquoise, a green, a little bit of pink. You just take your time and just add. And then I definitely want, I wonder if I've still got it in here. I love this yellow. There's something about the yellow. It's lovely, the yellow is. I think it just adds vibrancy and life, which you can't see very well, but it does. It just adds a little bit to it. So then I'm going to take the white. So let's grab my white. I'm just going to add some little dots of the white. There we go. We will add some text as well. So what I've got, where was that colour? Quite like this colour. What's it called? Jade Green, PC1021. Quite like that colour. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shading just to this hair, mainly because I like this colour. I just think it goes quite nice with what we've done. So I'm just adding a little bit of that colour just to give a little bit more depth and shading. I'm not covering up everything we've already done. I'm just adding a little bit of shading just to that hair, just to give a little bit more of that definition, just so that you can see that. I love sort of playing around. I actually quite like this colour in here as well. Just a little touch. It's a nice colour, that is, jade green. It's lovely. So I'm just adding a little touch here and there. I'm hardly touching the one that's the shadow in the background. I'm hardly touching that one, just so it's the shadow in the background. So I'm hardly touching that. And then we'll just grab, now I'm positive I pulled that down. I knew I'd pulled it down. So what I'm going to do is go along with my Inktense pencil, just a little bit, a little tiny bit, just a little bit with the Inktense pencil, not much, just touching that. And I'm not even going to blend that out. It's just a little bit of sort of a scribbly line just around the top one. So I'm not even sort of going to blend that out, not too much at all either. So I'm going to add some splatters, just some natural splatters just to our area. Let's just pick that up. Just wiping it up and being good, wiping up some of the splatters. I don't usually. Let that dry. And where's the heart one now? Heart stamp. Now has that fallen off? Now I've got a stamp missing. Oh no, where's my stamp? I wonder if I left it on me acrylic block. This is what happens when you make too many projects all in one go. And it would be the word that I actually want, wouldn't it? Oh, I'm going to have to look for that now. I can't lose a stamp. I must have left it on an acrylic block somewhere. There's, let's put this tulip back. Naughty, naughty. I'll have to check all my packages now to make sure that I've not placed it in another stamp set, which I've sometimes done. But we won't do this while we're live. So what I'll do now is I'm going to use you can see why, because mine are well used. I'm going to use Calm. Let's use Calm. Let's remember to put this back, and then I will report back if I have found my stamp. And trust me, I will find it, because it'll be on this desk somewhere. It's just when you're doing a project, sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees. So let's take a little scrap of card. Yes, that's a little scrap of card, Tracy. Just that word. We'll just cut our word out. Get the state of these scissors. There's sellotape on there. There we go. So let's just cut this out. A nice word that just doesn't overpower the design too much. And then we'll just add a little bit of our Posca. Now, because it's a small sentiment, I'm not going to press too hard the black against the wording, just so it sort of kisses the edges. And I've got a little faux black mat then, and it's not too much, it's not too overpowering. So then we'll just add our word. Like so. There we go. It's nice just to do something nice and relaxing. Add the word calm there. And there's something about those greens that is very calming. We'll just give that a couple of seconds just to grab hold. We'll add this to our black mat, like so, just so that that makes that pop a little bit more. We haven't finished yet, but we'll add, we're just going to, I'm going to put this word calm back because I know exactly what I'm like. We'll end up losing another word, won't we? So let's just place that back. So then we don't lose another word. And I do want, I'm going to take that tulip back out again. Take the tulip. And then I'm going to grab the charming pink. Let me just grab this charming pink. Let me see what the colour's like. Oh yes, it's a proper pink. So let's just take the charming pink. And I'm just going to add a few of the pinks. And what the pink will do is just give that, even though it's calming with the greens, it'll just give it a little bit more life. And I'm not masking off the hairs because I'm being quite precise in where I'm stamping those. So I don't need to worry too much. That's it. It just brings a little bit of life to that design. That's lovely. Let's just wipe that up. Let's place that back on here. That's it. Just sort of, and it's given that time just to grab hold of the card, and we'll just add the Inktense pencil under here. Just grab a little bit of water. Oh, try not to knock that camera. Oh, typical. It's green. We can't do it green, can we? Let's try again with a little bit more water. There we go. And then we'll just add a little bit of shading there. Always be prepared to step back from your project and just take a good look at what you are creating. So just be prepared to do that. Let's just add a little bit of green, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the green just up there as well. There we go. Just a little bit of that. So now I can add this to my black mat. So let's add this to our black mat that I can't pick up now. So the card is 4 by 6, and then we've just made the black mat just 1/4 of an inch bigger, just so that we've got a nice mat around there. Just frames it nicely. Really does frame that nicely. There we go. And always be prepared to look at your project sort of through a camera lens. It's quite surprising what you spot when you're looking at things through a camera lens. So what I'm going to do, just to finish off a little bit more, where have you gone? It'll be the last one that I look at. Of course it is. I'm just going to add a little bit of this fine text here. Let's just add a little bit of that text. You can see why I lose stamps, because I use that many. Right, so what I'm going to do now is grab, where's the grey? Make sure it's grey and not black. There we go. I'm going to grab my Morning Mist, and I'm just going to add a little bit of text, just in a few places. Just touch the text. Just to add, oh yes, a little bit of text. I love a little bit of text. And your first generation and second generation you can add to your design if you wish. Oh yes, that's it. And we've now finished. Right, I'll then stick that down. And then when I've stopped the camera, I'll spend the whole time vigorously looking for the word peace that is not on my stamp set. So we'll then add this to our 5x7 card blank. It's just add that. Take this, place that. Again, it looks framed. So let's add. There we go. And that just looks framed on the card just nicely, just so that you can see that. I'm really happy with that. So I hope you've enjoyed those simple processes, and I hope you'll give that a try. Love to all, happy weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.